Thank you, Mbak Ade. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Siame Rekon, for inviting me. Nutrition International has always been happy to share our experiences. We have also been partnered with Siame Rekon for many of our activities today. So, Nutrition International, has any one of you heard about Nutrition International before? I heard yeses with no hands up, so. Okay, Nutrition International is an international organization based in Ottawa, Canada. We have our regional office in New Delhi, India. We have some country offices in Africa and in Asia. One of them is in Indonesia. In Indonesia, we've been operating since 2006, supporting Ministry of Health with the supplementation of vitamin A capsules. And to date, we have been operating in 6-7 provinces in Indonesia with various programs in nutrition. So I'm going to share about one of the supported programs, the weekly iron and folic acid supplementation program. So this is the outline of the presentation as requested. So I'm going to start with the background. So knowing that this is a nutritional course, I assume you all are familiar with the anemia issue globally as well as regional and in Indonesia itself. In terms of 1000 days of life approach, intervention in the adolescents is more currently be more promoted, more recommended to have intervention even earlier than 1000 days of life, because nutrition status is like a cyclist. So whenever entering the 1000 days of life with not good nutritional status, then throughout the pregnancy will be at risk, and then the babies born will be, say, stunting with not good nutritional status. Throughout the childhood, they will be more at risk of many health issues, and when they're teenagers and at schools, and then later on become adults, they become more at risk as well, in terms of also not being able to reach their full potential during the adolescence. Then they become not quite productive adults. So then it will become a more cycles of life. So the latest recommendations, they start to recommend earlier intervention. That's when the adolescence age group becomes more important. And in terms of anemia in adolescent, it is one of the single largest cause of morbidity and mortality among adolescents themselves. That's the first rate in daily adjusted disability adjusted life years, according to the WHO report. And some of the prevalence among adolescent girls of anemia. Can any of you can guess? If we have 10 adolescent girls, how many do you think are anemic? More than 5 or less than 5? Some more, some less. There's only 2 options. Well, we can get to the numbers later. These are also some of the backgrounds, how childhood nutrition plays important role for them when they become adult. And being in adolescent age group is an important time range for intervention, because that is when they develop their healthy behavior or not healthy behavior. So for example, when they are when they are during the adolescence, they are more exposed to more fruit and vegetables, for example, then you can imagine when they are growing up, they will prefer more fruit and vegetables, for example. If they are developing a good physical activities, for example, behavior, then they will become a healthier adult, and so on and so forth. So that plays important role for health intervention. So these are some of the figures on the anemia prevalence among the adolescent girls. The numbers are still not consistent in terms of age groups from different surveys, because it is only very recently that anemia in adolescent girls becoming focus of surveys or studies. So we have these numbers, and the one in the bottom are from MI's supported areas. We are currently, for this project, we have in 4 provinces: Banten, West Java, East Java, East Nusa Tenggara. And from different surveys and studies, we have figured around 40 to 52% anemia prevalence. So what is the WIFAS program? WIFAS program is the weekly iron and folic acid supplementation program. So the adolescent girls are recommended to take this one tablet containing minimum 60 milligrams of elemental iron and 400 micrograms of folic acid. And this is implemented in schools. Actually, it's not only for in schools, but Indonesian government currently prioritizing the program for in-school adolescent girls, which is in secondary school, so SMP, SMA, and those similar levels, so madrasah as well, through the UKS platform, the Healthy School Program platform. So Nutrition International has been supporting the Ministry of Health with implementing this project currently in 4 provinces, starting with only in 2 districts, in Cimahi and Jakarta, in 2005 until 2008, and then it's been scaled up to Banten and West Java, covering the whole 35 districts, and to East Java and East Nusa Tenggara in 10 districts of each provinces. And our framework for this project covering 3 pillars: the enabling environment, basically dealing with policy, dealing with advocacy, how to create a more supportive environment for this program to be implemented. The provision is basically for the health service providers, for example, the teachers, providing the tablets, availability of the iron and folic acid tablets itself, capacity building, supportive supervision, and the third pillar of the consumption is more on the demand creation aspect. So with how we encourage the girls to know, to be aware of this issue, and enable them to, making them to wanting, taking the tablets, and being adhered to the program. So, on the role of qualitative research, in implementing our projects, Nutrition International has always been based on evidence. So, whenever we start our project, we always have baseline surveys. Not only quantitative but also qualitative, namely the formative research. And then later on, after a few years of the project, then we will implement online surveys. So making that is making our intervention is more evidence-based. So I'm taking just one example of the study. That's the formative research. In 2016, for this project, we were facilitated by Dr. Rina Agustina and team from FKUI. And the aim of this research, basically we want to know the condition, their behavior of the the girls themselves, as well as their environment, as well as their supports, their peers, their families. What are they think about these tablets? What do they think about taking tablets? Do they have any concerns? What are the concerns? Why do they think if they say they are not, they don't need the tablet, why don't they think they need the tablet? Why they don't think that they are at risk of this anemia, and so on and so forth. So we want to know such things so that we can design a program that is matched to the target, that is matched with what is needed in the field. So for this qualitative research, it was conducted through focus group discussion and in-depth interview. Some of the objectives, we want to identify these items. In terms of terminology, do they know about anemia? Are they familiar yet about being listlessness, fatigue, lack of energy, and some of the actions? What if you feel that you are always tired? How do you address that issue? And then what do they think about IFA, iron-rich food? What do they think about it? Their perceptions of this program, advantages and disadvantages. And then we want to determine these items and understand these items. So on the formative research, it was not only targeting for the adolescent girls, as I mentioned, but also to the other groups as well. But for these ones, these are the objectives specifically targeting the adolescent girls. So we set some different objectives for different groups, for different target groups. So for example, for teachers, we want to know, almost similar things like, do you notice if you have, for example, students that are always not concentrated in classrooms, or the most prevalent things is that they usually notice how many students that fainted during the school flag ceremony, the upacara that is conducted every Mondays. They usually know how many students that are fainted, and part of it is when we examine, they usually are anemic. So we want to know, for example, to the teachers, what are their concerns, what do they know about anemia, what do they know about taking this one tablet per year, and so on and so forth. So also, I need to mention that this formative research was among the first research that was conducted, supported the Ministry of Health. In terms of looking into more, into deeper understanding of the anemia among the adolescent girls, because the Ministry of Health, they updated the national guidelines for anemia prevention in adolescent girls in 2016, 16 finalized, and I was among the first partners to support with demonstrating like how to operation the national guideline into the field. So these studies was important. And for the adolescent girls, it was conducted through focus group discussions. These are the sample size. So for adolescent girls, we took SMP and SMA, junior high and senior high age groups, and we conducted separate focus group discussions. There were 5 group discussion on each age group in each project site. These are the other different target groups. And then, so I'm going to share some of the results, qualitative results from the study. So taking one example, this point here, that there is an awareness already among the adolescent girls on the 5 symptoms of anemia. So they actually know about the 5 L's of anemia, and we are taking this quote here. Anemia is the 5 L's, right? Namely these and these and these. And I heard it from this commercial. So they have actually heard it somewhere, the terms of anemia. That making us, okay, it's not as difficult, not introducing them to something that is very new, but giving them the right knowledge is then becomes issue. So that's the some of the their understanding of the anemia. Some of the next points, they are confused about the difference between anemia and low blood pressure. Sometimes they use it interchangeably. On the iron-rich food, they mention a lot about the vegetables, about the green leafy vegetables. They are rich of iron, but very few mentioning that animal source is also an important source of protein, and that very few of them naming the like this and other, but many of them vegetables, green leafy vegetables, contain quite a lot. This one was from previous. And then on the supplementation itself, they thought if they are to be given tablets to take it regularly, it is as a treatment, right? And I don't think I am sick, so why do I need that? Basically, it's like that. And then they are afraid, so I should take this weekly, like until how many weeks? And so what about the side effects? They have they have that concerns as well. Will that be bad for my internal organs, like my kidney and my liver, if I should take the tablets regularly? And so that's also an important aspects that we know. And lastly is about the BCC materials. What channel do they use the most to get information? What source of media that they prefer to receive information? We gather those informations in order to design the media for information. And these are also some of the recommendations. So we get these recommendations from the agency, from Dr. Rina and team, and these are very important points for program, to design a program, to design implementation, to match with the needs in the field. So, there's everything. Sorry. So, about the utilizing the result, once we receive the result from the agency, we will conduct discussions and decide how we should use the qualitative results for our programs. One of it is we develop the behavior change communication. So not only the result, so the result of the qualitative research not only useful for BCC materials, but I'm just going to share an example. So this is about the BCC materials. So the process of the development of the BCC materials, once we receive the result of the formative research, actually I need to mention that the development of these BCC materials was also helped by Semirekon through support of Ibu Ade. And these are the steps. Once we have the formative research, we conducted participatory workshops. So the results of the research was valuable, but it was not enough for us to design materials. So we gathered the related stakeholders, including the adolescent girls themselves, but also the health staff, the teachers, the other relevant sectors. So we invited them to a participatory workshop. We asked them to give us inputs. What do they think about what kind of message that we need to develop in order to for this program, for example. So in that participatory workshop, actually it comes from them. What are the key messages? How should we promote the messages? What kind of channels are we going to distribute the messages? Actually, it comes from the stakeholders. So results from the workshop was refined and then developed the draft of the materials. So the draft of the materials, before we finalize it, we pre-tested it to the field. We invited the adolescent girls. We showed them that we have these materials. What do they think about this? What messages do you think? What messages do you get when you read? When you watch this video? When you see these materials? What sort of messages that you remember, that you see, and then whether their answers match to our purposes. Then the materials was refined again. So, for example, we want them to understand that they are at risk of anemia. So during the pre-testing, so do you think we will ask the adolescent girls? Do you think now you are at risk of anemia or you're not? Then if they answer that, okay, now I know that I am at risk of anemia, or something like that, something between the lines, then okay, then this message is matched, then we can use this message. If not, then we refine. We ask them about the iron-rich food, for example. We presented some of the items of these foods, and then at the beginning of the pre-testing, I remember they were confused. Okay, what are these pictures tell? They cannot convey that, okay, these are actually, this is the highest iron-rich food and this is the least. But they could not convey the message. So we refine it into a more, a better materials, better messaging. And so after it was finalized, then we came with these girls and with this message, sehat, cantik, dan cerdas tanpa anemia. So healthy, beautiful, and smart without anemia. The thing is that the girls, they don't take health as their main concern, because they think, I just want to look beautiful instead of healthy. I think I'm not sick, so. But the stakeholders thought that, but the health should come first, because this is a health prevention, something like that. So we came up with this sehat, cantik, dan cerdas tanpa anemia. And even these girls, they changed their clothes quite several times. As you can see here, during the pre-testing, they wore different uniforms. And we changed into something that they think is more relevant to them. We have these types of materials. We have videos, we have flip charts, we have posters, booklet for girls, booklet for parents, booklet for teachers, and monitoring cards. The materials are targeting different target groups. So for example, the video is for the girls themselves. They mentioned earlier that they want to have something like Dr. Oz materials. So we created a video that explained to them the importance of the program, why they need the IFA, how they should take the IFA, and so on and so forth. The flip chart, the flip charts, posters, and these booklets are for different groups. We have booklets for parents themselves, we have booklets for teachers themselves, because each of them have different concerns about the program. So we address them in different materials. And these are some of the implementation and results. They receive the materials happily. They utilize it for references and etc. But they, when they receive the materials, they are happy and they think, oh, okay, they can relate to the message for them. And some of other example is that, so the theme of the program that was developed through the qualitative research was used throughout the program implementation. For example, during the development of the training curriculum, we use the same branding. During the training, we use the same branding. So throughout the program implementations, the branding was used. During different meetings, during different events, we use the branding for event backdrops, for example, for invitations, for different kinds of events. And some of the lesson learned, I take example of the materials. So after the demonstration in the two districts, it was scaled up to Banten and West Java, as I mentioned, but it was also scaled up to East Java and East Nusa Tenggara from different donor. That was previously was from Canada government. The Mitra Youth project is from the DFAT, Australian government. During the adaptation to different project, we relook again the materials. And we conducted several tweaks here and there to refine again, and so making it more suitable to different projects, but also refinement, I think, is very important. So it's not a standalone, it's not once we have it then it's done, but in the program implementation it's very dynamic. And the qualitative research, I believe, is very valuable for program implementation. I think that is all from me. Thank you very much.